Right, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm going to take a little bit of time to speak to Talya Bruck. Talya Bruck is an author. She is also a clinical supervisor, a drama therapist, and a systemic practitioner. And she's part of doing the wonderful Savannah Therapeutic Stories. So, welcome to having a little chat with me today. Thank you for giving me your time.
Thank you. This is fantastic.
I think one of the stories that I really wanted to focus on today is Silo's Raw, which I've got here today. I know you've done like other incredible books, and all your books are based around supporting children therapeutically one way or another under different topics. But I think today what we're going to do is focus on this little book. But I think before we move forward, you've got a copy there as well?
I've got mine as well.
Fantastic. Before we move forward, it'd be nice if you could just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, because some people might not understand the kind of work that you do alongside with being a children's author.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a drama therapist, and that is someone who uses drama intentionally for therapeutic change. It's based in psychotherapy. And I'm also a systemic practitioner, which is the first 2 years of the family therapy training. So if you go on to do another 2 years, and do the masters, you're a family therapist. So I did the first 2 years, which sat really nicely with the drama therapy work. And I work in CAMS and I work in schools. So I'm very lucky that I have I'm able to kind of bridge both worlds.
So that's incredible. So the work that you do as a therapist, the books that you write really do draw on that kind of work and experience of, I suppose, going through different experiences that children go through.
Yeah, and actually, Silo's Raw was a therapeutic story for someone. So I didn't actually ever intend for it to be a book. It was written for a young person who was really struggling with kind of worries and being completely overwhelmed by disappointment, and would become quite dysregulated and kind of really wobbly with their feelings and how to manage. And so I wrote it as a therapeutic story. But when I started then writing the other books, I thought, oh, let me change this one. Let me just adapt it. And that's what happened. So I adapted Silas Raw to become a fuller story.
That's wonderful. I mean, the fact that you created something to support another child, which I think lots of therapists that do end up writing books is what we end up doing, because I've written children books
Yeah.
as well to support children through emotional difficulties and stuff. So it's great that you actually manage to support an individual child just by creating a book that actually can support many children, because the book is mainly about helping children dealing with worry, or if you can elaborate a little bit
Yeah.
more.
So, I mean, so the book is about young Silo, whose roar just pops up, and he can't kind of figure out why he's roaring. He's doing the things he likes, he's with his friends. He doesn't quite understand it. And in all the books, we have El the Wise Elephant, who's kind of like your internal therapist, your school therapist, your school counselor, your mentor. She's someone in the kind of Savannah therapeutic community who's there as a kind of a listening ear. And she speaks to him about the importance of his raw, because as we know with worry actually and anxiety, it actually is a normal part of life, and it actually serves a really helpful function. So we don't want to take it away. So she talks to him about, his raw is helpful because it alerts, himself to danger, others that he might be in danger. And so she helps him to think about, well, what might be happening when his raw sometimes pops out. And she then starts to think with him a little bit about what might be, could he be worried about stuff? Is that why the raw pops out? And that's exactly what happens. They talk about it, they think about rainbow breathing, which is the breathing that really helps bring our brains back to being in a calm place. And then in the book, something happens. She goes to watch him play cricket, and his roar comes out. And it's because he's been bowled out. And he comes over and she says to him, actually, I think this is what's happened. And he kind of then realizes that, oh, that was because I was feeling disappointed. My roar can come out in various places, and actually that's okay. Which then I think if we learn about it and we start to recognize when things are happening within ourselves, then we can learn to manage it better, because we don't want to get rid of worry, because actually it's a survival instinct for us. We want to be able to learn to manage it.
I think what I love about your book and all your books, but what I love about this book is that you actually give techniques and tips for how a parent and carer can actually use the book, and how you can prompt discussions with children. Because I think sometimes parents and carers struggle to understand how to use the story to help them engage in conversation with children. And you actually put that throughout your story. There's information like the rainbow breathing, but there's all information there on what you can be looking at and how you can have these discussions with your children, which I think is what some parents really struggle with.
Yeah. And I suppose the tagline of Savannah Therapeutic Stories is about opening up conversations. These are all the books are written about things that happen to all of us and are part of our everyday lives. But sometimes you're right. Parents just don't know how to start the conversation. So if we have a story as a springboard, and the parents, there's some pre-information at the beginning of each book which gives guidance on how you can use the story, how you can help kids understand the story, and then there's questions at the back. I think if we can give parents a little bit of a prompt, they feel less nervous to pick up the book and to read it.
Well, I certainly identify with, Silo's rule with my son when he was little. And I think sometimes parents don't really understand what is going on with their children when they're acting up or they're playing up. Because when my son was little, he used to actually get quite angry when we first started nursery school. And I was like thinking, what is going on? Why are you showing these displays of anger? Like nothing's really happened. And eventually, I didn't cotton on straight away, but eventually, what I realized that what my son does when he gets worried, he actually has these outbursts of anger, which is really confusing to adults. It confused me, and I'm a therapist and a youth
Yeah.
worker, and I was like thinking, what's going on?
Yeah.
But as soon as I realized that my son was actually getting angry because he was worried, he wasn't just crying, which is an easy one for parents to pick up on. Child is crying, that means child is sad. But when you have a child reacting in what is usually seen in society as a negative way, which anger usually is
Yeah.
unfortunately displayed as a negative, then it becomes very confusing, or parents react in the wrong way.
Yeah, and I think it also triggers something in us as parents. I've got kids. I've been through like similar things that you describe, but I think it triggers something in ourselves where they behave in a certain way, and we're kind of not quite sure how to deal with it, and it triggers something maybe from our childhood, and we might not react in a way that's supportive or helpful, and we also have to think about why are they reacting in that way. What is behind the behavior, or the emotion, because I think sometimes we are very quick then to react and not to kind of help them co-regulate. And I know that's like a bit of a buzzword at the moment, but I think really important is about supporting children to kind of connect with you in that moment, to kind of co-regulate. So, and for them to also see that you are accepting their feelings, because I think as parents, we want to fix. We want to go in there, we want to be able to fix it. Life is busy. We don't ever want to see our children upset. And I think sometimes we forget that actually part of a young person's experience of life is getting upset and having big feelings and learning how to manage them. And I think what happens is if we go in and we rescue all the time, then they don't learn to know that they can survive and manage their own feelings. And I think, in a sense, that's what Elle the elephant does in the story. She's teaching Silo about that it's okay for him to have those feelings. It's okay for him to roar. And actually, he'll be able to survive it. And again, it goes back to that idea of, learning about what's happening for us, what triggers us. And that's why it's also important for parents to be able to kind of use the story and think about it and reflect on their own childhoods and kind of.
I think that's what I like about it, is that it does give that to parents to be able to kind of work through it, because not all parents are therapists, so they might not think about things in a particular way. And I think what's really important to highlight is actually you don't have to get it straight away right as a parent. We are human beings. We do get it wrong. It's okay to get it wrong. I think it's just about trying different ways to just be there to support. And I think if you can pay attention as a parent to what's going on for you,
Yeah.
you know, what might be triggering you, because I think certainly when children, let's say, roar or get angry and play those kind of displays, it usually makes parents think you're being naughty, go and take some time out, and actually not really understanding what the reason is behind the sort of anger and the roaring. So I think it gives parents really a good indication of how to talk to children, but I think it's important for parents to know they are human, so they don't have to get it right. You can get it wrong and still be a fantastic parent.
Absolutely. And it's all about being able to come back, you know, so it might be something that happened months ago or last week or yesterday. But if a parent can come back and say, you know, when that happened, I got really irritated and upset with you and I sent you to your room. But actually, I just realized you just needed me to sit with you and give you a hug. And I'm really sorry, because I think they need to also be able to see that we're human and that we own up to when we've messed up. Because like you say, we're all doing our best. We don't get it right all the time. I know I certainly haven't. But to be able to come back and say, I messed up, you know, and that's okay. And I'm apologizing and I'm taking ownership, because also what we're doing is we're teaching them that well, we're hoping that they feel seen, they feel heard, and that we can take accountability for our actions.
I think that's really important, because I do think that sometimes you have the odd parent that actually feels that they have to have all the answers, you know, and actually getting it wrong, being accountable and saying sorry is such an important lesson for children, because it actually shows them that they don't have to always get it right. And the thing about life is that we don't always get it right. We get it wrong so much of the time. It's
Yeah.
about being okay and just saying, okay, what have I learned from this? How can I move on? How can I progress? So I
And
think that's
yeah. And that's brilliant modeling for your child, isn't it? Because if a child grows up seeing that and knowing that they can make mistakes and that it's okay and that the earth is not going to fall, then that they learn that the world is, you know, that they're okay and the world is a safer place.
so by being really the best parent that you can be is by being realistic and also vulnerable, and also showing that you make mistakes and that you can be accountable, that you don't have to be this perfect parent, because there isn't the perfect person. It's just do your best, be good enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dear old Donald Winnicott, good enough.
Exactly, yes. Some people might not really know about that, but
No,
yes, good
no.
enough is certainly enough.
Yeah.
So where can we get this wonderful book from? Where can parents go to get this, to explore this with their children?
So they can either go straight onto Amazon and they can see all the books there, or they can go onto our website, which
Okay.
www.savannah-therapeutic.org, and there's links by all the books. There's links, and actually they come from UK therapy, UK psychology books. Sorry. And they take our books around to conferences, so they very kindly sell them on Amazon, on the website, and you get it's cheaper than Amazon. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but if you wanted a bit of a deal, you can get them from there.
Well, that's the world that we live in, don't we? So it's a marketplace. But
Yeah.
and you are on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm trying Blue Sky and Threads as well.
and you're on TikTok as well?
Oh, yes, I'm on TikTok. So yeah, so if you just either search my name or Savannah Therapeutic Stories, then or Savannah T Stories on Instagram. you should find me.
Okay, well, I'll put something in the feed so that people can find you in
Lovely.
any of those places. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to tell me a little bit about this. I certainly really do relate to it with my own children, or with my son at least. And I certainly think it could make a massive difference to supporting parents who are struggling to identify what is going on with their children and struggling to support them. So I think, you know, I love all the books that I've read of yours. I think they're absolutely amazing. So hopefully we can maybe touch base and talk about another book another time.
That would be amazing. I really appreciate the time, and yeah, and being able to talk to a fellow therapist and author.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye.